Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu. Wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I started to make tonight's talk tactics deployed against the movement, but I changed it. I have written here a number. Remember, I was talking about we was raising money at one time for Imam Luqman in Detroit, and we had raised a certain amount of money for him. And we had told his wife before the government sent her back to Tanzania. See, she was married to him. When he got assassinated, the government sent her back to Tanzania, some kind of undesirable or something like that. But anyway, if you see right up the top, I didn't bring my phone, but the other evening, right there, I just got that call. You can tell by those long numbers this is just, I'm only mentioning that, and we do it almost weekly, every other day and what have you, is to put emphasis on someone is conscious of us. They've been conscious of us for a long time. And we have also been conscious of them. And what I want to do tonight is I want to thank and congratulate, let's call it the invisible army of nonviolence. I'll try to explain that. From this flyer, 2014, which is 6.5 years ago, number 3 says, learn how Masjid al-Islam has exposed the whole Zionist American network in the public sphere. Never has so few done so much for so many without visible support. I don't know if you remember reading that, but that's on this. And there's several reprints of this based on what the program was. I think this was the original, and February 2nd, 2014. But when we look at what it says, it has other things which we don't have time to mention now. In spite of Steve Emerson, Sean Hannity, Daniel Pipes, NSA, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, and a host of other clowns, Masjid al-Islam in East Oakland is the only independent masjid left, that stands for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against American Zionism. And we have the date, come on, February the 2nd. Number 1 states, Imam Musa will inshallah share case study after case study on how to practice psychological guerrilla warfare. We don't want to go over that now, but we was in the middle of psychological guerrilla warfare at that time. I wouldn't say at the middle, I would say at the end. The reason I say at the end is because it seems like we're always telling them our business, but we only tell them our business after it's too late for them to do anything about it. Actually, the cows had already got away, or the horses, whatever was in the barn, they already gone. And we tell them that to sharpen their game up, to make them raise their level of oppression. Well, why would anyone want someone to raise their level of oppression? Because if they raise their level of oppression, if they don't improve, if they don't get any bigger and better, then we ourselves will level off. So we have learned from past history, and this is one of the things that's helped us, I believe, besides the help of Allah, is that we force the system to improve. We do it by many means. We make fun of them. We trick them all the time. And we are successful. This is why I'm saying this. We are successful at what we're doing. The proof of it is that we're here. The proof of it is that we're not crazy and we're not running, and that we're consistently, even at this stage, improving our accuracy on anticipating and expectations and informing the people. Because remember, all of our life, our recent life, there's a time in our struggle where we had to make a decision. If you go back to the mid-'80s, we done already went through this struggle and that struggle, and we have their pattern of behavior down. Just like they have our pattern, they should have our pattern of behavior down pat. If they don't, then that's too bad for them. But we have theirs. That's why forecasting, expectations, predicting, we have been doing that either publicly or to ourselves for a long, long time with a high level of accuracy. The closer we get to now, the higher level of accuracy we get. So we had to, what did we expect in the mid-1980s? Well, we had seen that we had not had any time without being encircled and suppressed by the system. We'd also learned from this period all the way back to South America, to Africa, to Europe, back to Oakland again. We had realized that the government was always having some interference with us. That interference in the earlier years was, you could call it, there was some eras of trauma, like trauma when you involved in the system. And that trauma reflected one way in us and it reflected another in other people. Other people just got killed, committed suicide, or committed social suicide. They just retired and quit. They didn't say I quit, but they didn't, as you go watching them over the years, they're not as engaged as they were in earlier years. And after decade, they're not on the scene anymore. Like today, they're not on the scene, okay? And we're not criticizing because we know how mean and rotten the system is. So we don't complain, but here's what we're doing. We are thanking and congratulating the invisible army. That's what I'm calling it now. You got to remember, okay, just think about it. Could we do all these things ourselves that happened? Somebody said, yeah, you're a super Negro, you can do it. I bear to differ. In the mid-'80s, this is going back now, 35 years ago. At that time, boss man didn't like if I just went and ran in the hills a couple hours ago, that's why it's a little late. Okay, I went a different way today. Yeah, I parked at another place and I went one of the old ways I used to go, and it was down. But so at first, there's zooming around. I'm just watching the traffic. trying to see where I'm going. Why am I not going to my regular spot across from the swimming pool, park there, and either run down in the woods or do like I've been doing for the last several days, run up the hill, but I'll be running on concrete. So I did it for a couple of days, 3 days in fact, and I liked it. But your legs don't like it. So today, I run on that soft dirt or gravel for a reason, because decades and decades ago, we ran in army boots and we ran down by the lake on concrete. One of the boxers, they drug us up in the hills. They said, "This is where you run, on these horse trails." We ran on them horse trails, but we still wore boots. Then you get maybe around 42, 3, 4, 5 years. We start using running shoes, and it's a difference. And it saves you a lot of, okay. Back to today. So I went another place and parked. You should have seen them scurrying around, or some guy walking across the street in front of where I just parked on the phone. See where I'm parking, walk back. That's okay. That was a time when they didn't do that. They were more discreet. We anticipated well over 35 years ago that was going to increase. So we had so much time to institute a program where we're going to make contact. See, we never could make contact with people who were open friends of ours, because we're going to put heat on them. That's what we call it in Jahiliyyah. If you hot, you know what I mean, under the microscope of the system, and you go visit your friend, well, he's going to get hot too. Or if you're dealing and he's dealing and you start being around him, you already hot. You're going to get him hot too. Using that same principle. By the early 80s, and I'm talking about almost 40 years ago, we saw that we were under scrutiny. We saw that they were sliding people up next to us. We picked all of that up right away. So we instituted a program of our own. They want to make sure that we don't contact nobody, that we don't talk to nobody, or, and they're so obvious about it. Several years ago, Abdul Malik and I had just pulled up in front of the masjid, and a lady, it was just at night, kind of this time of year, she knocked on the door and then stepped back. So he was, who is that? Like, do I have somebody that I'm contacting that they didn't know about? No, that was, you could read that on him. Technically, it was my niece, but he didn't know that it was my niece. So he was wondering how did this get by? That I got contact with somebody that they don't know about. To make a long story short, during the last couple of decades, they have really loaded up on keep him under visible contact at all times, this, that, and other. And when I go running, make sure if he meets anybody running, if he talks to anybody, if anybody comes by him, we want to know who that is. And they serious about it, okay? But if I anticipated them doing that, what would I do decades and decades ago? We'd already have our system hooked up for contact, right? we'd already have everything in order. And we could go by a log, or we could point out through our own system, well, just go to the log and pick the thing up, or just go here and just go there. And, and that's the invisible army. So we are not, nor have we done this stuff by ourselves. That means that there are people, it's kind of like leaderless resistance before we read the article. Yeah. So that's why we say right here, we're sending them hints all the time. Learn how Masjid al-Islam has exposed the whole Zionist American network in the public's fear. Never has so few done so much for so many without visible support. In other words, nobody can take out the binoculars and say, those people helped them. Listen, they can't do that. But if anybody read and observe or listen, there's some type of support coming in our direction. And they don't know who it is, what it is, and how it's happening. Why? Because anticipation is simple. If we have a class here on anticipation, that means 30 years ago we was already anticipating. Yeah, because we know it works. This is how it works, right? Okay. We've had a lot of experience. In this struggle, we could either, what do they say, curse the darkness or light a candle. In other words, we could look at all of what's been going on and we could be mad at the world. And we could highlight the insufficiencies of each group, people, organization, and what they're doing. We would be technically right. Or we could show people how to do this. This is exactly what we have done. Anybody that's observing us will know you don't have to be scared of boss man. Boss man might do 1, 2, 3, or 4 things, and he might get rid of you, but he can't get rid of all of us, right? So this is where these positive expectations come in. So we can curse the darkness or we can spread the light. I mentioned a little bit about Thakalain Center. We're going to do some programs. I'll be a little more specific, maybe around Christmas Day or Christmas time. We got a couple more turkeys left. We might just haul them out or do whatever we want to do and have a program here in concert with Thakalain Center. The whole idea is unity. Wahda. I showed you that we used to have unity programs all the time. For whatever reason I was taken out there, it came to mind right away. We have to reinstitute some of those old unity type programs. It don't make no difference who else is involved, as long as we're involved. Why? Because just like our goal in all of this have always been to show other people how to do this stuff. That it's possible to do this. You don't have to sit back and, as we say, curse the darkness. You can develop a policy or a program. And that's why we say tonight, we want to thank the invisible army of As-Sabiqun, the invisible army, because in order to do what we've been doing, it has to be an army behind it. Okay, what's my job? The job I was built for. Take all the heat. Go out there and just throw stuff up against the wall, urinate on the lawn, do everything. That's my job. I've been doing it. Nobody would do this. Is my responsibility. This is what I do. It's not theirs. Everybody can't do that. Everybody shouldn't do that. They may not be built to take the heat, but out of everybody that's in existence, which one of y'all could stand boss man's heat? Well, I can do it. You got the training? Yeah, of course I got the training. I've spent more time under the microscope than anybody, and I can do it. Well, go on out there then. Remember the discussion on Bell the cat? That all the animals were being oppressed by this. They call it a cat or something, a monster, a creature. And so they said, well, what can we do? And they're thinking, I'll tell you what, every time he comes by, we'll put a cowbell or something on him, and he'll let us know, he's coming. So they all agreed. Then now, okay, who's going to put the bell on the cat? That's why they call it belling the cat. Who's going to put the bell around the neck of that sucker that chews things up, spits it out, got claws, fangs, everything? Which one of y'all going to put the bell on the cat? And then there's always some, even the Quran mentions that the human being is a little hasty and foolish, but not in this way, just dedicated. Say, I'll do it. Not only do it, but we're going to record, we're going to chronicleize, right? We're going to archive all of this stuff, right? And that's what it's in. That's why all the programs here have been reasonably repetitive. They go subject 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6, 7, and 8, that's it. And it all feeds a certain way. So that's why tonight we said we want to thank the invisible army of As-Sabiqun. We want to thank them and congratulate them. We congratulate them. They are real people. They exist. And boss man don't have no idea. He don't have no idea because it started before we anticipated that he's going to do this. We anticipated that eventually, at one time, we're only under 10 to 15% surveillance. Not 90 and 100% surveillance, but it'll come a time, if things go the way we hoped it would, it's going to come a time when it's called waking them up and put them to sleep. That means you with them all the time. Wake them up from early in the morning till late at night. I can go outside of my house. I can come up from where I'm at. And if I walk and jump in the car, and oh boy, you ought to watch it. I do it to make sure I'm right. That's the way it is. Somebody had to do that, and they had to be built for it. They had to be built for it. They have to thrive on it. And they have to have the spirit of, we used to call it, they call it clowning, ray feeling. Well, it's ray feel. You're going to clown the white man. Yeah, you clown him. You got to have that spirit. Because of what? One, you're clean. In Jahiliyyah, you wouldn't want to get caught dirty. Dirty mean that you're packing something, you're carrying something. And in the last 40 years or more, we have been absolutely clean. It ain't nothing on us unless they put it on us, right? So we can do what we want. We follow the law more than they do. No, we follow the law. That's why we said years ago, this flyer from way back, it's not way back, it's just 2014. In spite of Steve Emerson, Sean Hannity, Daniel Pipes, NSA, FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, and a host of other clowns. Now, basically, nobody talks about this crew as a bunch of clowns. They don't want the trouble. He called us what? In fact, you can't find hardly anybody in the Negro. I bet you can't find none of these boys that talk like that. They don't talk like that. Social invisibility of American Muslims lead to psychological trauma and suffering. I'm not saying that you got what you deserve. No, that wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be overflowing with goodness. But if you leave people out there hanging on a log, and you can read Quran and Hadith also, that gives you hidayah, give you guidance, give you direction, right? And it says if you see wrong being done, stop it with your hand. Physical power and force. Well, there's a lot of places you can't just jump up and say, hey man, I'm stopping y'all from doing that. You'll be very, very dead very quickly. I mean, the brutalest death. And you, well, speak out about it. Saudi Arabia got women in prisons. They got the hellholes they got make these look like where people are just floating around in the sewage in the cell right now. They behead people they got this whole square, they just chop heads off. Just like the old brutal, people with the hoods on, the big old curved axe. They actually doing that right now. They're doing that in Saudi Arabia. They got some places they're famous for that. I mean, they actually, and most of the people are good people. Most of the people haven't did nothing. They got a poor sister, they got that rape stuff bad over there. So they rape men and women. Many of the ulama have been raped. Yeah. Because they're trying to break you down. And the stuff they do, the brothers from country 2, see, we studied everybody, and they said, yeah, if we was our ulama, a lot of the people we see, they would torture many of the good ones, and then they would take their man and scrub him all up, give like he'd been tortured and everything, and send him back on the cell block with patches and everything like he's been tortured. He's their man. So everybody says, cool. They build up his stature. This infiltration and sabotage is nothing new. It ain't nothing new. They've been doing it. It's just how far will people go? So what we said was, Imam Musa will inshallah share case study after case study on how to practice psychological guerrilla warfare. That's our job. Okay, not our job. Technically, that's my job. That's the job that I accepted. The numbers are relatively short, and so when you in your organizational stage, you have to choose correctly who's going to do what. Who can stand? Can you go all the way on this? What about if it lasts 20, 30, 40? How about 50 years? Can you hang 50 years? Of course I can hang 50 years. If I'm 50 years old, I can hang. You're going to have to do it sometime. That's what long-range struggle, that's what protracted struggle is. There has never been a page that we have written on and we haven't had the outline protracted struggle over a long period of time. Okay, boss man, he been used to, we said it before, it was good. We said that Boss man has not been trained to go up in the championship rounds. He's so mean, he been knocking people out. I mean, you think about the movement. He throw a punch, bam. Sometimes the people just drop. They don't go past, there's nobody go past any like third round. So boss man is not, it slips up on him. It did slip up on him. He looked up and there we was. There he was. The stuff they was doing in Oakland was short range. They started doing it thinking that, okay, we ran that 1-2-3 game on Imam Jamil, on our brother, and he did it. He did just what we wanted. They're similar. They demand respect. People respect them. Okay, people like them. So what we're going to do is we're going to insult. We're going to start with insults from people who are not tough. They're like, in the dunya, we'd call them girls. Man, you're a girl. A B-word person. They're men who would be classified then and now as B-word personalities. And they're polices. Because when they get to acting, that's what comes out of them. That day-to-day, that foot patrol policeman, that I am the police. They don't have nothing else for respect except I am the police, right? And if you don't show me respect for that, not for a house I built or for a great landscaping job or for the writings that I have done or, big stuff, real stuff. I am the police. And that's what those brothers were swearing by in Oakland. Abdul Malik, Mukhtar, all of them. Now you got to imagine now, when I show you the brotherhood list of Oakland and the brotherhood list here, imagine all of those people on Boss Man's team against one man. Then add on to them the rest of California. Let's say another 6 or 7 centers. 2 in LA, San Diego, Sacramento. Just add them on, and big communities. Big numbers. Right? Their team. Imagine if they believe in peer group pressure. Right? It has no effect on whatever personality. That means, it didn't come off like we planned. Let's run back. You can tell when things get hurry-scurry or whatever they call it, that it was not, they go and they do something else, but they don't go just do whatever they want. They go, now they're under your domestication. And you sit right here and tell them, well, next week we're going to have popcorn and we're going to have cotton candy outside the masjid and we're going to have all of this. And here they come, their biggest show, to interfere with that. Exactly when we told them. Yeah, right? No, we didn't tell them to do it. We have the articles, the dates, they're there. We have these left over, like we write. Okay, remember, we got the book. We put that stuff here in the book. We have these notes right here. Cotton candy, you know what I mean? We're going to do this, that, and the other. Peanuts, Cracker Jack. Yeah, we had Cracker Jack, everything on there. Boy, it's going to be a good show. And here they come. And it don't work. It don't work. And they steal your telephone and they snatch your microphone. They do all of that. That's supposed to make you mad. They're kicking the masjid, pulling at doors. They're doing all of that. Now, they have to have some right to do that, right? And we got tons of witnesses all there. We bring our witnesses. Rule number 1, no weapons. And you follow orders. Because people, they be mad. If you hear me on Sunday, you have to stand firm. Shut up. Don't move. Don't move. Don't do nothing. Right? And they do it. Why? Because that's what we wanted them to do. And then here come the police, finally. They take one picture of me, and all the people in the streets now ask, why they bring them guns to your church? Oh, no big deal. Why they block the street? Because some people could run off. You see what they did? They come and they blocked the street, and they was just running off. Them people with all the guns, they just run off. Why they do that? The people on the hill, the people everywhere, they see it. Case study after case study on psychological guerrilla warfare. I'm just telling you, they can say what they want, but Boss Man then got his clock cleaned over and over and over and over and over again, because we got our hands on the pulse, on his pulse. Forget about slavery and being in his house and flushing his toilets and all of that. And we know his behavior. I'm talking about up-to-date behavior. Because everything we have forecast have came out very close to what we mentioned. That's why we want to thank and congratulate the invisible army of nonviolent resistance. Never have so few done so much for so many without any visible help. Why not visible help? Because imagine what they're trying to do. They're physically assaulting. They're taking money. They're doing all this stuff. Why? So you can go get your crew and do them. And they using for bait, they using them niggas as bait. That's why I drew them in the masjid. I told them, I'm going to help y'all because this is bigger than what y'all ain't even, hey, man. And then I even told them, I said, go see, the movie had just come out, Bait, about, what's the Negro, the Negro, it was all right. They showed technology that they got, they've been had, and they showed how they work. So they're showing that they do that. Same with salt and all of that. That stuff is old now. They got, years ago when our articles was coming out and our flyers, it was talking about roving wiretaps and all of that. They don't need that stuff, no. And that was 100 years ago. Technology. In the 80s, they could point at your window and pick up everything, By the 90s and 2000s, forget it. You don't know what they got. So you got to use it against them. That's what we've done. That's why we wanted to congratulate the people. The Army of Nonviolent Resistance. And that nonviolent resistance is so important because it gives us the upper hand. Believe it or not, crackpots still, contact or try to contact, but I don't have nothing to say. You know why I don't have nothing to say? Because it makes them mad. Imagine them, sometimes you can see phone call after phone call, because you call somebody, you want to harass them, and they won't answer the phone, right? Then you turn the phone off. They're just sitting there calling over and over, and they mad. And then you hold the phone way away, and click it. Of course, you could hear it up close or way out here, but da-da-da-da, click. Oh, and they just be mad. It's just child's play. We play with them like children because they act like children. Their game is small. What I'm talking, like in the dunya, we call everything game, like what you was involved in. And there's boss game. Boss game is like what the big Negroes was doing. They had boss game. This game here, what we're doing is like quadruple, quintennial, whatever those numbers would be, game. This is boss, double, triple, quadruple boss game. Because nobody has came here before. You don't read anywhere in history, or do you? If you read Marcus Garvey's history, in 1940, the article came in the newspaper said Marcus Garvey died. The man died. He just jumped up and died. When he went back to Jamaica, they had the little kids follow him around. I don't know if y'all ever saw those, some of those. They had little kids following around, teasing him and so then he went back to Europe. Guess what? In the 70s, I went back to Africa. And I was telling one of my friends, y'all might know the name. So you went over there in Colombia, huh? Are they like Mexicans? I said, yeah, they kind of like Mexicans. I don't like, I never liked Mexicans. I said, well, it's okay. I said, brown berets and all them people, y'all the black berets, what about the brown? All them people, what do you mean you don't like Mexicans? In other words, it was still racism. When I got back to Colombia, since I had told that I liked the people of Colombia, I liked it in Colombia. Before I left, the kids would follow me, boxeador, boxer, or all kind of names. Good. When I came back and I told the people that I love those people, because, you're black, you're a celebrity, the people can't, ooh, look. And then they want to run around. They don't believe you. They want to pull on your skin and see, I know that ain't no real skin. I can pull that off. That's not real. I can pull that off. They kind of get on your nerves sometime, but they kids. They look, although Colombia is 33% black, but they're all up on the coast. Everybody in the interior is mestizos and indios, Indians. That's what they look like. Okay, let me get to the point. It was 30 years before I realized what had happened to me in Colombia. When I came back to Colombia, I still liked the people, but the people was almost making fun of me, right? When I saw the Marcus Garvey thing decades ago, I said, that's what they did. They were doing. That's why long range and not leaving in a hurry is, oh my goodness, it's astronomical. I'm going to try to speed up here. So we congratulate the team. So this is like words of hope, inspiration, gratitude, we're very confident about the future, but every now and then you have to let people know that their stuff has done a lot of good. That's basically it. Now, there's another little issue I wanted to cover. Have anybody saw that documentary on Greta Thunberg, whatever it is? The little girl. It's a I just looked at it last night. And she has Asperger's. That means that she's not going to, like me and you might say, oh, that's good, don't worry about it. Asperger's mean you not, no, it has to be, they don't say it has to be perfect, but to them, it's a thing that, I tell you, did you see the movie Accountant? Accountant. Remember that guy had that kind of thing. And things had to be pretty much in order, right? And he wasn't putting up with no like me and you. The or the don't make no difference. No, it's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's it. And they make sure the 5 looks like a 5. Make sure, and she has that. And when it was over, she said, I wish that more people had Asperger's. Maybe they should have it too. Because here's what happened. Now, first of all, they started a documentary when she was about 15. And she looks like, a little girl that's just beyond a little girl. I mean, she was just a little girl. She looked like it and she acted like it, except on this. She didn't have no time for small talk or that unimportant stuff. That goobly-gock y'all be talking, I ain't talking that, I done read all the books. She read all the books on climate and everything. And so, remember, we always said, can you put it up there? We always said, well, we hope she don't burn out, too soon because, but she said that in the movie, not the movie, but the documentary herself. Because remember, there's a difference. If you do like us, where you had big audiences, but you don't have big audiences, not like Malcolm and King and those people, right? When you have those big audiences, you get a feeling like you can do something because all the people are there, right? So they're first inviting her to Poland to speak at the UN off-branch, and finally they bringing her over here. She said, I'm not going to fly over there, I'm going to take a boat. So she took a sailboat to come from England all the way over here. And she's from Sweden, though. She woke up all the young people are all fired up all over the world. And she got the best grades in the school at the same time, although she ain't going to school. So one of the last talks she gave at the UN, she said, why are you people stealing our childhood? You're just lying. All you do is get up there. I've said this stuff over and over again. You listen and all you're thinking about is how I can get some more money, how I can get my stocks, and that's all you guys think about, And so, the amount of pressure that she's been dealing with and the amount of attention, she evolved very quickly. But she was despondent part of the time because no immediate response and what have you. Now, this is where we come in. Any of y'all in read our writings already know that we have always, for the last 20, 30 years, no, technically we've always had one of our planks have always been environmental. Okay, so we're going to talk about our return to Oakland, but right now, we can help them. How are we going to help them? First of all, you already have all of these people, right? Now, mobilize, organize, and direct those people. Simple things like, first of all, we're going to pull back from white boys in the 60s and the early 70s, when they wanted to do this type of thing, they called it roughing it. Roughing it meant that they were the ones that went to communes and didn't have toilets, and that came out of, they saw in those days how that easy life had ruined them. I mean, this is 1970. You know, the first Earth Day was 1970. I don't know if you would remember, but if you think pollution was so bad, they was just running sludge down the rivers. Rivers in Ohio and other places was catching on fire. Yeah, catching on fire. A couple of them rivers run right through Indiana. I bet you half of them was on fire. Because all that production, remember, Indiana, Ohio, the people don't know the amount of production and steel mills, this mill, the chemical, all up and down, right on the side of them rivers. And they would just dump all of that stuff. Fish dying like by the, boy, look at here. Boss man, he's still mean, but he was stupider even then. So they had Earth Day, and Earth Day meant that we got to clean up this, so they did some cosmetic stuff. So like a lot of, at least the rivers won't burn now. But here's what we can do. Here's what they can do. They have the people now. They have to mobilize the people. They have to maybe give them a good purpose. They have to show them what they could do. Okay. They can have different teams. Different people do different stuff. But the first thing is cut consumption, like consumers. They already kind of like that. Cut consuming all of these plastics and all this stuff, right? Cut back on that. Also, eat less. Eat less. And all the stuff we talk about, clean up the oceans, all that, we'll start with the glass bottom rowboats right up and down the coast, right? This is talking about right now, day after tomorrow, very soon. Organize all of those kids. First thing is nonviolent resistance. In their case, resistance is non-consumption. We're not going to consume that crap anymore. And we're going to clean up everything. We're going to give the kids a purpose for living. You know, all the amount of suicides amongst young people is exploding, especially boys. Well, it ain't no damn mystery. A boy don't know what, they had some studies in England, go back 5, 6 years ago. The boys are going, hell, a boy don't know what to do now. He used to supposed to be this, the protector of girls, and you know what I mean, the tough guy. Now, what is his role, right? They don't know what to do, and they haven't gave them nothing to do. And right now it's getting worse. We all for equality and the whole cabinet full of girls, but the kids didn't do this, just like the white kids didn't have us in slavery, right? Well, those white people, those white boys right now, getting addicted to drugs, committing suicide, doing all the stuff that supposedly Negroes should do, they didn't have anything to do with it either. And they didn't oppress the girls back in the day, right? Okay, so if you're gonna fix stuff, one thing about boss man, if he gonna say, I'm gonna fix it, break out running, because he ain't gonna fix nothing right. Is he don't know how to fix nothing right. It's gonna be, he messed it up and put it out of balance, and he's gonna, when he fix it, it's gonna have a balance that give me some more money. And so it ain't gonna work, because his intention is wrong. So now, think about young people. Now remember, these are mass movements. They already had the visibility. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to mobilize those young people. We're going to give them purpose. We're going to let them pull away from the system. 20 years, no or low consumption. No, we're not going to do it. We're going to get back to bicycles, right? Bicycles and big rubber wheel carts. If you want to go to the store, you get your butt up and walk up to the store, right? Pushing your big cart. What's it going to do? You're going to get in very good shape walking up to that store. And pretty soon, your weight's going to trim down. You're going to trim down. Turn them bike lanes into cart lanes and all that. And you're going to walk up there, right? And when you start walking and exercising and cleaning up all the shorelines, right? And no motorboats, only big rowboats, big rowboats. Instead of that rowing machine, you're going to row out there. And you're going to spend a whole shift cleaning up that garbage and putting it on a big rowboat barge, right? They got some of that stuff going on already. They give you a little decal around your wrist for cleaning up barley and stuff like that. They already doing that. You can see it on TV. But this is mobilize those thousands of people. What happened? Pretty soon, suicides go down. Why? Because they're taking charge of their future. The thing that you noticed last night, when we have to stop depending on, you're not going to convince those bums in the UN, they just might as well be talking to Congress. They're not going to do it. They're not programmed. They don't understand. They can hear you talking, but they don't know what it means. They don't taste it. They don't care. And that's what the little girl was saying. You just lie. I just tell you this stuff, you just bring me here like a show and you put me here and then you don't do nothing. She said, I'm not going to do that. Neither are we. What I mean to say is, you know, there's a high road, low road, high road, stuff like that. We ain't taking no low road on nothing. We're not going to even curse the darkness anymore. We're going to light the candle. We're going to say, click on the lights. Cursing the darkness, you niggas did this, you people do that, you did. You been doing that? This is a war. This is a struggle between the shaitan, right? Evil and good. And we're going to be on the side of good. Okay, evil got a head start, no doubt about that. Evil got a head start. But study every time in history when there's been big rebellion, a big change, the people have separated. We're talking about a nonviolent separation. It don't mean like we're going to move over here. No, we're going to be in the same environment. But we're going to change our behavior. You want to consume? You think it's going to make you happy? Consume it. We're not going to consume. We say the less consumption, the better. The less we consume. And if we need something, we'll get secondhand stuff. Do you know how many extra clothes we have in America? How many extra? They send the extra old clothes, 2-3% of them over to Africa in these big bins. And the people love them. We don't need to produce, we don't need any new clothes for like, I'm not talking about style. At every transition in history, whether from divine revelation or whether from revolution historical documents, the society was going two ways. One, to hell in a handbasket, and the other way, people are turning to good. That's always. In Iran, before the revolution on the Caspian Sea, they had nude beaches up there. in Iran on the Caspian, in the Caspian. Yeah, he did. In Iran. A few years later, they had signs around, Marg Bag Bi Hijab, death to the people that don't wear hijab. Of course, it's mellow now. But hey, man, after the revolution, when I was there a couple of times, one of the brothers asked me, do you know what that sign says? Spray painted. I said, it says, Marg Bag Bi Hijab. You know what that means? I said, yeah, I know what it means. Death to those that don't wear hijab. You don't have hijab, death to you. They had committees going around in those days. You didn't wear no hijab, boy, you'd be troubled. Now they can throw it all back. It's like it should be. It's more relaxed. Okay. Anyway. So, the less consumption, the better. The less waste. And you can have, we'll take whatever they throwing away, we'll take that and use it because it's too much anyway. And we'll have teams, look, the whole team, imagine this is not talking about a group, this is talking about a community lifestyle change. Okay, we're staying out of McDonald's because of that. The food gets too cooked fast and it ain't good for you. No, just like you can have, like they have all kind of people. They have vegans who are total vegetarians, right? You have lacto-ovo vegetarians like I am. Lacto, I drink milk, eat ice cream, and I eat eggs and stuff like that. Lacto-ovo vegetarian, but I don't eat meat. And every now and then, I might eat a little fish. Okay. Because fish is 35% protein and, you know, all that stuff. Okay. So if you have people, you can have light consumers, medium consumers, and barely consumers. You know, you can have different groups within the group, you know, that they choose what level they want to. They're part of the group. They're part of the consolidating and cutting down and cutting back. And the other people, let them go. They want to keep building and building and building and doing this and doing it, let them go. The summer camps, we'll use the summer camps for something good. In fact, the people can stay there all year, right, and do what? Clean up the woods. And while you're doing that, making studies of how to do this. We don't want to ruin the woods, right, by raking all the leaves and putting them in plastic bags. We don't want to do that, right? We just want to do them like they should be. And do woods like they used to have. Like Johnny Appleseed used to take the apple mash and he'd plant apples here and there, right? Well, you don't have no birds in the woods, hell, because it ain't nothing to eat. Suppose there's plum trees. Think about it. Not everyone, but a few here, a few there, right? A few cherry trees, a few apple trees in the woods. I mean, out in the big woods, you know what I mean? So the things can have something to eat, right? And I don't want to go into all this in detail, but this is our next move, is to help our friends and all of this we talked about anyway. We want to play a part in the direction of change, you know, in the world. That's what we've always wanted to do. It's written in all of our stuff. We don't want to make nobody do nothing, but we want to participate in the direction of change for the good. physical fitness, glass bottom boats, carbon cleaners on roofs, if we leave it to those who invent. You know where you see an air conditioner on every roof? What about a carbon cleaner? What? Carbon is the problem, right? So there's got to be they can hook up a machine to do what? Suck in carbon dioxide. Like photosynthesis, a plant, all we got to do is work on it a while, and it sends fresh air out. And they run in all the big cities and what have you. Guess what? Pretty soon, the air is cleaned up. You're going to use up so much fuel on that. No. They all work on solar, right? Just work on solar. If it's sun, it's got a little battery, it's going, and that's when you need it anyway in the summer with all that heat and all that thing. They're on all the roofs. And in most of the United States, the sun is going to shine enough to keep them running all the time. Okay, cleaning up the air. Consumption. And remember, the human being is a social animal. The suicides and all that with all the young people is because they're getting out. They may have 5,000 friends on the damn, whatever that thing is, right? But they don't have contact with people. The human being is social. That's why they isolate you. When they want to cause you discomfort, they take you away from people, right? You're isolated. You're cut off. This is the biggest trauma you can do to the human being, right, is cut him off from other people. Now imagine you got a new mission in life and you're working with people. When you go on your regular job, whatever it is, and you got your weekends and you got your evening, you got all this time, 3 or 4 hours per evening or night to make the world a better, cleaner place, right? And you working with a team of people that do that. Problem solved, all your social, right? Because now you're part of a team or a tribe. Yeah, so we're going to reverse and go back to tribalism, but you've chose your tribe. You choose what team you want to be on. Out of the consumers, I want to be a mid-level consumer. I want to snatch a few little things here and there, but I want to do the work for good. So you be with those type of people, or not all, but generally, right? You want to be a vegan type. You don't want no consumption. You want to be almost barefooted, right? There's a group of people that are like that, right? That's your team. That's your tribe. Solving these problems are so simple that it's just, what are these dummies? But now get up a good war. You're ready. We got billions for defense. What? That's what the little girl was saying. And she's a little girl, a young, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, I was looking, I said, this is a little young girl. I mean, barely, at first she was barely a teenager and a young friendly one, like, you know, like, not no sassy one, just, but liked her little horses and ponies and stuff, you know. Because she has Asperger's, so the other kids, she didn't relate to them because they were basically not stupid or anything like that. But, you know, she just didn't want to talk about what they talked about. You know what I mean? It didn't make sense. You know what I mean? It was imperfect. It's like, hey, you know. So anyway, let me put out a few of these things. We thought about it last night, and we're thinking about it according to the suggested lifestyles from overconsumption. Suggested lifestyles. That means you choose your own team and you choose your own lifestyle. I'm going to skip a few things, and I'm going to go to, I'll go here first. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. By Allah's will, they routed them, and David slew Goliath. And Allah gave him power and wisdom, and taught him whatever else he willed. And did not Allah check one set of people by means of another, the earth would indeed be full of mischief. But Allah is full of bounty to all the worlds. So these, they point to something. We'll read that same thing again from the. Thereupon, by God's leave, they routed them, and David slew Goliath, and God bestowed upon him dominion and wisdom, and imparted to him the knowledge of whatever he willed. And if Allah had not enabled people to defend themselves against one another, corruption would surely overwhelm the earth. But Allah is limitless in his bounty unto all the world. This is a big deal. Just a closer translation. So they routed them by Allah's leave. And Dawood killed Goliath. We know that our struggle, and even all our old lectures, David and Goliath, or Goliath and his forces, if anyone remember all of those old lectures. Some of them 2008 in that era, 2010, yeah. Atad he gave, bestowed, granted, that is in the past. Dawood was given the kingdom after the death of Talut, or Saul, and Samuel. Basically, what this means, that Allah gave him power, hikmah, wisdom, sagacity. Here it means nubuwah, or prophethood. He gave him that. That means he gave him power, he gave him authority, and alama, he taught him, instructed him, imparted knowledge to him. In other words, he gave the people of that era power, wisdom, and everything they needed to get the job done, whatever else he will, Dive, to push away, driving off, dislodging, repelling. If the good people don't repel the bad people, although the bad people are Shaitan's crew, they have a head start on us right now. They have a head start. They're institutionalized all over the world. That's a mean crew. They are institutionalized. But Allah, when we do our work, Allah will give us power, ability. Ability means power means the ability to get things done. So Allah will allow good to overcome evil, because those people that have dedicated themselves to doing good, Allah will infuse them with the ability to repel all of the evil, or not all of it, but most of the evil that's going on. And then these mufsids, fasad, the evil that's going on in the world, Allah gives the human being the ability, right? As he gave it to it, there's many other ayahs, as he gave to those before, right? That they can repel evil. So we in good. We got the Quran on our side. Hey, it's a big deal, I'm telling you. And the kingdom. And the kingdom. And right here, the ayat we Sabbihisma Rabbikal Ala Alladhi Kalaka Fasawa Walladhi Kadara Fahada. So look what it. To bring them into existence. That means to bring something, khaliq. To bring something into existence, me and you. Then taswiya, setting a nice form and shape, psychologically, emotionally, physically, and giving us a hand. The white man said the human being is superior because he's got a brain and a hand. Good, he can make tools. Other animals, a bear can't make too many tools. He got too many claws, all that stuff in the way, right? Right? I mean, a horse can't, they got hooves. He can't make no tools hardly. Right? He can kick a little something here, but it ain't gonna. So Allah then gave the human being this taqweem and assigned to them appropriate roles of function, both inward and outward, is taqdir, or a measure. They are designed, it says, to float in the air and not swim in the sea. That's the way the bird is designed. The bird, hey man, they bones got holes. They just little bitty old bones. You ever see that? Hey, that's why they can fly, cause they ain't got no, like me and you, if they had bones like us, man, they couldn't go nowhere. Right, so their bones are hollow. Right? So Allah gave them wings and feathers and all that so that they could soar in the air. But they don't have gills to get air out of water, and they don't have that. So each thing Allah created, imagine the people talking about this creation as an accident that just stumble upon it. And you know what I mean? What do they call it? Evolution of the species, survival, all that crap. I mean, all that stuff. Man, that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We can plainly see. So Allah, this hidayah that we have, there's several types of hidayah. I'll be brief. The hidayah of instincts. We all have certain instincts, right? The animals have instincts too, right? The hidayah of senses, smell, touch, taste, and all that stuff. So the human being can do all of that. Then there's another type of hidayah of reason, aql. And this is what it says. This is my way, resting upon conscious insight, accessible to reason. I am calling you all unto Allah, and I and those who follow me, and say limitless is Allah and His glory, and I am not of those who ascribe divinity to aught but Allah. So this is available to your conscience. You can, you know what I mean? It's not only your instincts say it's all right. You have instinct to feel this way, instinct to feel that way. Animals have instincts. Your instincts is not superior to, how can a pigeon fly wherever it want to go? How do it know its way back to where it came? Oh, they can smell stuff. They got pressure in the air. They got whatever it is, they get back. You let them go, they fly over here, then they fly back. Because those are instincts. The poor bird don't even have a map, but don't have none of that stuff. Me and you, to get anywhere close to where we left, we got to have circles and squares and draw lines, right? Yeah, looking all at the stars, now GPS. We got to have GPS, right? They don't have no GPS. They got instincts, right? And their instincts work all the time. If they turn the stuff off, your GPS won't work. It'll cost you, there ain't no juice in there, right? Theirs work all the time, I'm telling you. That's the instincts. The senses, smell, taste, touch, all of those are involved. And reason. There's another hidayah of rububiyah. This culminates in everything fitting into a mission, a pattern. And Allah giving you all the needs for you to do that. Whatever that assignment was. Remember, we talked about assignments. We talked about stages of growth in the Islamic movement. And that we knew, or we kind of had an idea that at that time, that ilm, that knowledge, that inspiration that we was flying under was not enough to get us to the next stage. That was enough, that was appropriate for that stage. Now we're looking at evolution in knowledge, evolution in guidance. You know, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Hey man, that hidayah is big. And what do we have on our side right now? We have all of this. We have hidayah, rububiyah on our side, which culminates with all of the other guidances and the purpose of creation is on our side right now. So we want to help our little sister, Miss Thornburg, so she won't be so sad. Hey, if she mess with them white folks another few months, boy, she talking about sad, boy, them old mean crackers. Man, they'll treat us so bad. Not her, just the earth. Right? Now, that's what I mean. Okay, but we're not saying go fight them or go argue with them. Okay. You're bad, you want to do that, you following the shaitan. This is scripture. We know who you're following. That's why we're a little better guided than a lot of people, because we know who we're up against. They think it's science, engineering, and tech. All science, engineering, and technology is something that the Khalifa is supposed to use. The good Khalifa is supposed to use all that stuff against shaitan. Because shaitan got a head start on us. He been laying for this all the time. And he don't rest. The Quran says he is persistent. Hey man, that boy, that means he persistent. In other words, he always come after you. He always going to do what he going to do. And if you catch him, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did, he'll just lay back, and he'll suggest good to you. Yes, he will. Then after you go to sleep again, he'll be back to his foolishness. Why do you think we have waves in history, revolutions and transitions where there's good flowing? People go to sleep. As soon as people go to sleep, there's a shaitan. Yeah, I knew you suckers wasn't going to be up long, because he been doing this from Jump Street, right? He know your pattern. And there's only a few ways to frustrate this old boy. So let me kind of wrap up a little bit here. The invisible hand of Allah is in hidayah. In other words, you don't see the hand, Yadullah, but you see the guidance, the manipulate, the direction you in the right way. Assignment means that the human being has the assignment. Everything has an assignment. Birds have their assignment to fly in the air. Fish have their assignment to swim in the sea. And we have the assignment to help manage all of that for the good. And that's the job that we want to do. And just think about it. The Negro have a chance to influence the earth or the world beyond singing and dancing. Isn't that big? That's big. No. Strategic brilliance and all that. That's what we're doing. Okay. Look, we already know what we're doing. We already know. We don't have to pat ourselves on the back or wake ourselves up. We know that that Boss Man is finished. We know that he can't help. He'll finish himself off no matter what. The only thing is, he'll take you and your children and your family and everybody with him, right? Because in the end, those systems, they go down. It ain't no, intermediate stage. So here's what we want to do. We want to influence the direction of change in the world in which we live in. And for all of, on the bottom, in the back, and everything, the Negro has always had to play, he's played a role not fitting of historical character and reality. So we want to influence the society beyond singing and dancing. Yeah. That they see, man, them niggas can think that, man. That's brilliant. That's strategic brilliance. Yeah, that's the part we don't have time to work on all of what we're gonna do going back to Oakland, but there's an adequate supply of good people, willing people to do all of what we're talking about. There's plenty of good people. We just gotta go and kind of, like Greta, all her people, you just get them together and start giving them work to do. That's all. They're going through the Negro phase, asking the master for freedom, and he don't even, for their freedom, he don't even know what they're talking about. I mean, he knows the word freedom and liberation, the dictionary meaning of it, but he don't know what it means as far as, he's never had it because he's never conquered his nafs. See, that's the big struggle with conquest of nafs, right? Jihadul Akbar, okay? So he can't give the people are spending their whole lives getting cars, houses, and they committing suicide. And nobody can figure out why you got this, why you're not happy. Because they're not doing Allah's work. They're not doing Allah's work. How has somebody got 50,000 followers and committing suicide because they're lonely? Right? But if he had 5 friends doing this work, he would feel completed, because the human being is a social animal. Up close, now, I imagine we're dealing with it better. I know I am. I did this coronavirus, all that. I do the same thing I've been doing. I just go work out, exercise, eat, cook food, do all that, so, but a lot of people, man, they shooting each other, they breaking up, they killing, they panicking. I said, why y'all doing that? You be around these children. Well, you wanted to be around them because you said I'm gone all the time. Now you're with them, and now you want to kill them and destroy the poor little things. And all they doing is what kids do, right? And I love my wife, but I didn't think she was going to be like this. We hear all the time, and she always talking about me, or we'll fix this and fix that. I said to her, hey man, that's what the girls do. They always got a project for you to do. You ain't see them got none for themselves, right? Well, I gotta fix this, I gotta fix that. They ain't got no project, tell the truth, I ain't gonna start nothing. But they ain't got no particular project for themselves, right? They what they call them, honeydew projects. Honey do this, honey do that, honey do that, and never ending. It ain't like, okay, I can get these 10 things done and I'm gonna take a rest. What you doing over there laying down? Get up, honey, and get busy. Oh no, we ain't having none of that, not in this house. Oh, no sirree, right? It's
No, I'm laughing. I remember there was one day, I think it was around, this is about the two, it was around close to Ramadan. And I had came here one day, I forget why, but I came here one day and I fell asleep right there.
right.
I was knocked out something for hours. Now, Brother Tupelo comes by later that day. He's like, yeah, I didn't wake you up the door because you know, sleeping so peacefully. It's like, I know what it's like to be married. You know, the sisters don't let you do that. I was like, and you understand? You know, that was about some of the best sleep I had gotten in a hot minute.
No, hey man, look, they trying to make men and women equal. They are equal, but they're different. That's the flag we fly. I said, girls and boys are different. I don't care what you say, they different. Like, tell the truth. If you bought me a new Benz like a couple of weeks ago, do you think I could say to you in a couple of months, are you really my friend? Do you really like me? And you done bought me a Benz, a brand new Benz, just like you got. You got a red one, I got a green one. And you got it for me because we friends. You said, man, I ain't gonna have you riding around in my car. I'm gonna get you another one. And you might talk about me and make fun of me, but friendly like, right? Would you come and say, you can buy somebody a house or an airplane that don't make no, do you really love me? You don't really love me. And you say, okay, but anyway, now let's get back to the Rububiyyah, Hidayah Rububiyyah. You have to understand that people are different. They're not bad. The man ain't bad, the woman ain't bad. They're equal, they complement each other. But they're not the same. There's so many things that have happened in families just because of that simple thing they didn't understand. That I know people, I might have been one of them. In the early days, I was in the prison all my life, and I finally get married, and you know, and so my wife made a good point that hey, nice little boy here, you know, if we do that business that you do, I said, you're right. So I started doing business somewhere else. Why are you not here? I thought, you know, at first, I said, this lady is making fun of, this lady is harassing me. Because I didn't realize that, you know, like, that girls do certain things. And I was saying, if I ain't here doing something, I got to be over there. It's just, I can't split in two and half here, half there, or nothing. I can't do that. So it makes sense, right? You're right, that's right. So I ain't gonna do that here, that's dangerous. I'm gonna do it over there. And if I do it over there, I have to go over there till I get somebody else in place. But anyway, no, man, I'm telling you, once people get the thing that men and women are different, then they can cruise. They don't waste no sleep. They just cruise along. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. No problem. You know, if somebody says something to me, well, shoot, I get that tomorrow, next month, next year. You know, but I'm not going to interrupt no program, no routine, right? That takes time to understand that. Now, anyway, let's get back to well, we talked about non-consumption and levels of consumption. Uh, we have to answer the call of our time. Satan is ahead of us. He got a head start. For all our young people, mobilize, organize, and give the purpose or the vision. Remember, they got the people. And all of those young people, hey man, and what's the most fun for them? Being together. You can just put them together in a room, they'll figure out something to do. They'll be playing this or playing, right? Young people are like that. So if you put them together, don't worry, and put them together with a mission and a job, they'll be in heaven. Right now, what it is, boss man got them in a backwards position. There's no reason that they going to school. There's no reason they're getting an education. There's no purpose for it. They don't have, what is this all about, right? Imagine, okay, y'all want to go over there and mess things up? We're going to clean it up. We're going to fix it up. You do what you want. You out mess, dirty it up, we're going to out clean it up for you. That's what we're going to do.
It's funny you say that because some parent asks a question, hold up, you mean my children aren't at school, but I'm still paying the tuition? They're learning from online, but I still have to pay the same money. That's crazy.
That's the purpose. What's the purpose of the institution? It's to make money.
To make money, right? But they don't know that until they have to go through this particular situation.
Well, I mean, originally, like, if they're paying tuition, a lot of people view the, school as like, daycare.
I'm talking about, but this was college.
Oh, this was college?
This was a college, a parent asking a question about university.
Yeah, universities.
It's about making money.
It's about making money. See, that's the thing. As long as Shaitan got hold to the purse, he gonna keep people getting busy. Because one thing about money, if you addicted to it, you can't get enough. Even when you know something is wrong, you still don't stop. Why wouldn't Bill Gates and Mr. Mumbo Jumbo and them that have trillions of dollars almost, why wouldn't they come to the conclusion sooner or later that if the best thing that the human being like is collaboration with other human beings, why don't we start, Miss Gates, me and you, we're gonna start a human collaboration for fun thing. We already can't spend the money we got, right? So why not do it? Why don't they do it? They don't do it because they're addicted to it and it blinds you. That wealth blinds you, man. And the Quran talks about riba. Man, the bite of riba is the bite of shaitan. I mean, it really, hey, it's a big deal. Okay, anyway, just a few more things before we go. So we answered the call of our time. We're answering the call of our time. This thing about the low road or the high road, we're going to do good under any and all circumstances because good is the only way to go. And I believe all the stuff that's happening to us is because we're trying to do good. Well, we didn't talk about a lot of this stuff, and thanks for this and thanks for that. Are there any more questions or comments?
There was a brother that asked, now, where can we get the articles you have written over the years? There was, brothers that used to be around here set up a website. I'll see if I can find it. But someone had asked that.
Some of the articles that we wrote here,
Yeah.
aren't those articles on As-Sabiqun, the other website?
Yeah, I have to go find that website. It's been a while since I've been on it, but.
Yeah, tell them to go to the, and I'm gonna ask that they download I got the little gadget with the 2, 3 down. I'm gonna get them a whole nother set. Download the ones that's in book form. Download the ones. Yeah, yeah, man. We got articles. We have at least, man. We got several years of high quality articles. You know. So just tell them to look up As-Sabiqun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I better get it myself because I don't even. Yeah, whenever you get it packed, just write it down and give it to me. No,
Or
we,
how can we, like, send them to them?
yeah.
What's that process?
No, what we'll start doing is we will get a library of articles and start sending them out. Yeah. Yeah. That stuff is very good quality.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll send it to the brother and I'll write it down.
No, tell them that we're gonna start. You know, when they stole a lot of my stuff, I had boxes. You know, where I have articles. They stole them. Know how important? It's got to be important by what they take. Okay, alhamdulillah. Are there any questions, any comments? If not, I have a question. Is this what we're doing here? Is it making any sense to anybody? Or
You know, it seems like a lot, you know, 'cause 1 second, you know, we're gonna go save the trees, then we gotta go over there, unite the Muslims, you know, it be seeming like, you could kind of walk me through that, you know, 'cause it's a big job. I mean,
yeah,
like, across
okay,
the spectrum.
no, but we do that. Like even the talk tonight was, well, thanks for the help because to me, it seems relatively reasonable. First of all, if there's a background in this stuff, if there's a background, that we start off by thanking the invisible army of As-Sabiqun. That we start off by, and we stayed there for a while. And we explain the process of when, back decades ago, when we started in on that.
Yeah.
And that's why the modern, they follow us 24/7 now. Well, we started on what we was doing back. I would say the serious start was when we wrote Big Victory. That was in the mid-'80s when they stole the accordion folder. I don't know if y'all remember, I said they stole my accordion folder, they stole this, they stole that. But I wrote Big Victory. They had stole 4 folders. I said, okay, fine. This is what we're gonna do. That's when we started. But that was decades before they started this 24/7. Before, they always monitored and they did that.
Right.
But not like they do now. It's too late for them to do that now. I just wave at them when I see them, or they pretend, I just wave, hey, how y'all doing? You catch anything today? Or whatever it is, right? Okay, so we started with that. Then when we skip to Greta, we're going back to one of our main themes. Our main theme has always been a part of the Earth First movement. All our, well, I don't have the flyer, but many of our flyers, many of our discussions, everything that we talked about tonight, we have talked about that same subject many times because we don't, like we said, we don't go way over here and it might seem like it if a person is slow, but we don't go too far away. We do here, 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 here. We say 5 or 6 subjects at most. let's say 5 or 6 themes. They may encompass the whole world of activity, but it's going to be somewhere within that realm, and that's the way we've been doing. So when we get to Greta Thunberg, we've been there before she was born. We got articles that say, well, that tree huggers and people like that are going to be our best friend. Well, tree huggers are saying, right? We have been there for decades, and we have enough articles that subject is represented. Climate change, climate management, human evolution, human management. All of this stuff balancing off the resources of the earth, all of those are recurrent subjects. Balance, right? That Allah created everything, gave it an assignment, and it's over and over again. So that's what we try to do. We try to do that because learning is repetition a lot. And you don't have to have when I was studying Taekwondo, the guy told me, he said, there's over 25 combinations, between kicks and punches, which is true. And so my friend that was a boxer, he told me, I told him that, he said, yeah. He said, in fighting it, if you can master over and over again, a jab, right hand, hook, uppercut, you're just gonna whoop everybody. You know what I mean? Those are that you can step a little here, there's a little variation, step a little forward, then pop a hit over there and all that. But in boxing, you don't need no 25 combinations, And even in martial arts, you can cut it down. You perfect a few good punches and kicks, and all that fancy stuff, flipping up in the air and turning around, you don't have to do that. You'll bust somebody up. That's the way we're doing on this. We're carrying it like a big fight. That's why we said the United States, like George Foreman. George Foreman was so tough, he just stopping people too soon. So he never got in the championship rounds. We got Boss Man in the championship. We got him where he's never been before and at the worst time in his life. You gotta remember, it's the worst time of his life, his whole system. It's just like the white folks said, why the United States declined or failed. They're writing it like it's already happened, right, in 2012. They could have wrote it in 2000, in the 90s they could have wrote it, but it makes sense now. So anyway, are there any more comments there?
Well, to me, everything that you are talking about, have been talking about, that needs to change affects us as black people the most. And it's our youth that need to be the ones that participate.
Yep.
So I think it's definitely consistent, with what you've been talking about. But we're the ones that need to, our youth are the ones who need to get this message. And that's what I was thinking about just sitting and listening.
Yeah.
That you have, Greta Thunberg has her followers, the youth, but it's not the
Imagine when Negroes
right,
interact with other people,
right.
they always, now on TV they make fun of us, but when Negroes mix with other peoples, they got some natural hikmah, and people like them. People, let's say it this way, the niggas is what's happening. That's all, and ain't nothing they can do about it. But imagine a Negro well-fed and well-bred and well-led. It sound like Jesse Jackson. It did sound like that line, Jesse Jackson, well-fed, well-bred, and well-led. Good God Almighty. I almost want to take it back, but it's true. Right? Hey, man, it's true. I'm telling you. That's the other thing, and I'll stop in a second. Never lose the hope in whatever your people or the people or the masses, you know. Because that's the first thing they want you to do. They want you to go for yourself. Get yourself a house. Get yourself. Yeah. No. The people, we are going together. Okay, was that about it?
Yeah, that's everything.
Okay. Haven't done a lot of